ओम नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम नर्मदायै नमो प्रातः नर्मदायै नमो निशि नमस्ते नर्मदे देवी त्राहि मां भवसागरात्। आदौ ब्रह्माण्डखण्डे त्रिभुवनविवरे कल्पदासा कुमारी मध्याह्ने शुद्धरेवा वहति सुरनदी वेदकण्ठोपकण्ठैः श्रीकण्ठे कन्यरूपा ललितशिवजटा शङ्करी ब्रह्मशान्तिः सा देवी वेदगङ्गा ऋषिकुलतरिणी नर्मदा मां पुनातु। हरि ओम and my salutations to one and all. Welcome to this talk on Narmada Parikrama. This is season 1. Nowadays you have different episodes, different seasons for different series. This is season 1 because I am yet to complete Narmada Parikrama. I have done one portion of it. So we have one talk today and another talk tomorrow. And then when I do the next part of the Parikrama, season 2. So Sanatana Hindu Dharma is a most evolved, beautiful, subjective science where we have, just like any science, we have both the theoretical aspect and the practical aspect, the philosophy and then the practical application. What we see in the Gita is Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. So the supreme knowledge of the self, the truth, absolute reality, to realize that is the very purpose of human birth. And that all actions that we do, sadhanas that we do, everything that we go through in many, many lifetimes is only to lead towards that. Though it is our own true self, why do we not realize it? Is because the mind is not yet purified. So there are different types of sadhanas given in our Sanatana Dharma to purify the mind. One such sadhana is, we generally know it as pradakshina. So when we go to a temple, we worship the Lord and then we do the pradakshina of the Lord. Bhagavan will always be on our right side. Meaning, may my life be centered around the Lord, centered around Dharma. May I have the right knowledge of Dharma and Brahma. So that's the purpose. Pradakshina is done. And Sanatana Dharma is very, very beautiful because there are different types of pradakshina that we do. One is, as I said, in the mandir we do pradakshina of Bhagavan. Second is we do Giri Pradakshina, mountain. Tiruvannamalai mountain is considered Lord Shiva himself. We do the Pradakshina of Tiruvannamalai mountain. We do Vrindavan. So Govardhan Parikrama we do, Pradakshina we do. We do Pradakshina of trees. You will see on Vata Savitri day, the women go around the Vata Vriksha. They tie the thread. So Pradakshina of the trees, Pradakshina of the mountains, Pradakshina of the temple, Pradakshina of the parents also. We do Pradakshina of the parents, bow down to them, seek their blessings. Our Shastra says we do, there is a pradakshina of entire Prithvi also. Kartikeya Bhagwan did the pradakshina of the whole Prithvi. Markandeya Rishi also has done. So there are different types of pradakshinas that are done. And one type of pradakshina is the pradakshina of the Nadi. Balramji is said to have done the pradakshina of Saraswati Nadi. When the Mahabharat war was going on, he was on the pradakshina of Saraswati Nadi. So pradakshina of the Nadi is one powerful sadhana. Balramji's example is a unique example. Saraswati river pradakshina he alone did. There are people who have done various sadhanas on the banks of Saraswati and even traveled on the banks of Saraswati. Pradakshina not very popularly done by masses. Narmadaji's pradakshina is done by everybody, so many people. And this Narmada Parikrama and Pradakshina mean the same, where we do circumambulation, complete circle. So how does the Pradakshina of the Nadi happen? One can start from the source of the river and walk back up to the source. In Narmadaji's example, one can start from anywhere and come back to that point. We will see more about that as we go along. But the beauty of Narmada Parikrama is it is an all-inclusive sadhana. Individual sadhanas, what we do separately, all of them mix in the Narmada Parikrama. It is like, different rivers flowing from all different places, they merge in the ocean. Like that, all different types of sadhanas, they merge in Narmada Parikrama. How? So you think about it, what are the different sadhanas that we do? Puja is one sadhana that we do. In Narmada Parikrama, every day we have to do the puja of Narmadaji. Japa is one sadhana that we do. Every single moment as we are walking, we have to chant Narmadehar or Reva, Reva, Reva. Puja is done. Japa is done. Then Yatra, people go for Tirtha Yatras. This itself is a Yatra, we are continuously walking. Then what else is a sadhana that we do? Upvas. So the Parikrama Vasis will keep Upvas on the Ekadashi day, on special days like Narmada Jayanti. Falahar only. Each one does as per their belief. Somebody does only Falahar, somebody does with Upvas food, somebody does Nirjal. Different people do. So in this Narmada Parikrama, one does Upvas, one does Puja, one does Japa, one does Snan. One goes to various places and does Snan. There are Parikrama Vasis who take up a Sankalpa where one says that I will visit, while I am on this Parikrama, I will do 108 Snans. There are people who complete the Parikrama in 108 days with 108 Snans. Then we visit temples, we do Darshan of Bhagwan. So there are so many temples we visit on the way. Then we meet sadhus. So satsang is another type of sadhana. So we meet sadhus, sannyasis, various devotees, have satsang with them. Then there are Parikrama Vasis with whom we meet, we interact. So satsang happens in both ways, keeping the company of people who are good as well as the people who have realized the truth. So satsang, puja, dan, snan, japa, mandir darshan, upvas, yatra, you name the sadhana, it will be there. Yajnas, there are people who are doing so many yajnas on the banks of Narmada, and there are various ashrams which do celebrations of various festivals and havans and yajnas and yagas. So Narmada Parikrama has all types of sadhanas involved in it. We want to wake up in the early morning and it is there. Sleep early in the night because that's how Parikrama is done. Sleep early, wake up early, Brahma Muhurat, worship the mother. And also one follows those three main principles of Sanatana Dharma, Satyam, Ahimsa, Brahmacharya. One has to speak the truth. One has to live in Brahmacharya. One has to live in Ahimsa. So values also one follows. So it's a very, very beautiful sadhana. That's why it is an all-inclusive sadhana, Narmada Parikrama. Various values, the mind gets, as I said earlier, the mind starts getting purified when one does this and one is doing it intensely. See, there are people who do the Akhanda Parikrama. So when they start, they will continuously do the whole Parikrama and finish at the place where they started. It will take sometimes, depending on how much one walks, anywhere between 90 days to 120 days, common person can finish the sadhana. So intensely one does all this for 90 days. Just think about the sadhana, the purification, the mind, how it will transform through this parikrama. And there are various values. One develops tremendous devotion. Because Narmadaji is not river. Like we worship all other rivers also as mother. Ganga Maya we say, Yamuna Maya we say, same way, Narmada is mother. And the bhav that people have on the banks of Narmadaji is very contagious. You know, one place we had just crossed Narmadaji and we were walking and there was a mountainous area and we reached a particular place and the network was not working properly. Now we have to reach a particular village. So we asked one lady, she was washing clothes just outside her home, कि ये गांव कितना दूर है? So she replied, जितना आप नर्मदा माई से चल के यहाँ तक आए उतना दूर है. How much you walked from Mother Narmada and you came, it is that far. She didn't say जितना आप नर्मदा नदी से दूर चल के आए उतना है. For them, Narmada ji is Sakshat. She is a living deity. So this Shraddha develops a lot. When we do this parikrama, see, one thing is very important to understand is Adi Bhautik world, which is the world around us, is perceptible to us by the senses. We can see. Adhyatmic world is the subjective world, much more subtler, and many things we think about it in a symbolic way, and we say that is Adhyatmic. But the Adi Daivik world, we ignore it as some superstition or just stories. So when it comes to Devatas, we don't think they are real. We think they are only symbolic. And they are just created by some rishis as stories to give us symbolic meaning. Until we don't consider something as real, that bhav is not there, Shraddha will not develop properly and Jnana will not come. So it is easy to say Narmadaji is river water, it is hydrogen and oxygen and it is flowing and from the mountain it starts, it goes up to the ocean and that is Adi Bhautik level. Adhyatmic level, one may say that, okay, Narmadaji is the nature of absolute self. Narma means happiness, absolute truth. Da means one who gives. Narmadaji is of the nature of absolute self and she is the one who gives the absolute self, the bliss of absolute self to all. But what about the Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik level? As long as I think this body is real and the world is real, Devatas are also real. Devis are also real, and there's no doubt. We consider this as real, world as real, but Devi Devatas are not real. So the development of bhav, of Shraddha, of Bhakti does not happen properly. When we go to do this Narmada Parikrama and we walk on the banks, we meet so many people, so many Parikrama Vasis, sadhus, sannyasis, common men, village folk, city people, everybody. You see their faith is very, very strong, very powerful, and they really live in that attitude that Ma Narmada takes care of everything. Their bhav is so important. So when we do this parikrama, Shraddha increases, Bhakti increases, Bhavana increases. There is a equality that one feels. One may be from any background. Narmada Parikrama is a complete equalizer. One may be from any background, rich, poor, any caste, community, creed, gender, anything. But when one is a Parikramavasi, nobody discriminates. Everybody is there to support the Parikramavasi. How beautiful is that? One goes through various climates, weathers, terrains. What we see in the Gita, no, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu Samasanga Vivarjitaha. One can live that in Narmada Parikrama. Heat. Right now it is absolutely hot there. And there are Parikrama-vasis who are still doing the Parikrama. Cold. When we started, it was pretty cold. Thermals and whatnot we were using. Suddenly there was hailstorms, stones, ice, the hailstones falling. One goes through different types of weathers. One goes through different types of terrains. There are dusty roads, there are fields, there are tahar roads on which one is walking, ups, downs, so many things one goes through. And Parikramavasis who actually just go, depending on Mother Narmada, sometimes even go through challenges about food, etc. So one gets to endure. Titiksha one develops, Samata one develops, Shraddha one develops, Bhavana one develops. So all these are various beautiful aspects of Narmada Parikrama, and when one does it, then one knows it, one feels it, and one will know that the person who went to do the parikrama is not the person who has come back. Like one says, you will never see the same river twice. In the same way, all of us are continuously changing, there is no doubt. Every single moment our thoughts change, our body changes, no doubt in that. But these kind of changes and the deeper transformation that Narmada Parikrama brings is very completely different. The intensity of sadhana heightens a lot because everything is one has put aside. See, when we do a camp, when we do spiritual retreat for few days, it is 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, one feels that. Here it is much more longer. So more about the parikrama as we go along, we will understand. Across the world, if you see, various civilizations have developed on the banks of the rivers. And when we say civilizations have developed, what do we mean? We don't mean only the external growth and development. That is only one aspect. But civilizations develop, flourish, sustain because of the internal value system, the culture. So in our country, various rivers are associated specifically with various spiritual aspects. Saraswati River, Ma Saraswati, is associated with the Vedas. Vedas were revealed to great rishis on the banks of Mother Saraswati. Mahabharata is connected to Mother Saraswati. Yamunaji is associated with Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna, his different leelas. Gangaji is associated with the revelations of the Upanishads, the entire Guru Parampara traditions. Tamasa Nadi is associated with Valmiki Ramayana. Ganga Nadi is also associated with Tulsi Ramayana. On the banks of Varanasi, Tulsidaji wrote Ramcharitmanas. Tamasa Nadi, when Valmiki Rishi saw these two birds and they were, the hunter shot one bird, that was the inspiration for Valmiki Rishi to start writing the Valmiki Ramayana. So different rivers are associated with different things. What is Mother Narmada associated with? She is associated with Vairagya. Jnana, Tapa and Vairagya. So the Bhumi, Narmada Bhumi is called Vairagya Bhumi. Not that one cannot get Vairagya on other banks. Not that one can't get devotion on the other banks. So each river has a specific connotation. You see the beauty of our culture. That's what I'm trying to say. On the banks of Saraswati Nadi also one will of course develop devotion and knowledge and dispassion and all that. But specifically different rivers are associated with different qualities, spiritual sadhanas. So Narmadaji is associated with Jnana, Tapa and Vairagya. Now, who is Narmadaji? She is a daughter of Lord Shiva. See, before this Narmada Parikrama, I was not aware that Shivji has a daughter also. We are aware of only Shivji having 2 sons. Actually, Shivji has 3 sons. We know only Ganeshji and Kartikeya. But Shivji also has a 3rd son who is Andhakasura. And Narmadaji is the daughter. And very interesting is our Lord Shiva. All the 4 children of Lord Shiva are born without any physical union. So Narmadaji, her origin we will come to. Narmadaji is the daughter of Lord Shiva. And very amazing is Lord Shiva is called Narmadeshwar and Mother Narmada is called Shankari, Shiva Suta, Jata Shankari. So it is very interesting that the Parikrama of Narmadaji is also Parikrama of Lord Shiva. There are scriptural verses also, we will see as we go along. So it is Parikrama of both, Lord Shiva and Mother Narmada both. Because every stone on the banks of Narmadaji is called Shivalinga. Narmada ka har kankar Shankar. Every stone on Narmada banks is Shivalinga. And that's why those lingas themselves are called Narmadeshwar. So many stones which one finds, they are called Narmadeshwar. So she is the daughter of Shivji. And interesting is a beautiful shloka here from Skanda Puran 5.1.4, where it is said, Tatapulinam Shiva Deva Yasyaha Yatayopi Kamayanteva Munini Vaha Vihata Seva Shivaya Mama Jayatam Reva. The company of whose banks is desired by Lord Shiva himself. All devatas and great saints and yogis, they also desire the company of her banks. They want to be on her tata, on her banks. And who is ever served by rishis, munis and seekers, may that auspicious Reva bring auspiciousness to all. That is Narmadaji. And beautiful verses from Matsya Puran, they say, Punya Kankhale Ganga Kurukshetre Saraswati Grame va Yadivaranye Punya Sarvatra Narmada. Gangaji's maximum benefit or punya one gets when one goes to Kankhal and takes a dip there in the Brahmakund. Saraswati Nadi, one has to take a dip in Kurukshetra. Not that any other place, if you take dip, you won't get punya. I'm saying maximum punya. This is Matsya Puran saying, I'm not saying. Maximum punya of Ganga Snan comes in Kankhal. Maximum punya of Saraswati Snan comes in Kurukshetra. But Narmadaji, it is said, Grameva Yadivaranye, maybe in a village, maybe in a forest, anywhere. Punya Sarvatra Narmada. Narmadaji is the giver of punya at all places. Tribhis Saraswatam Punyam Saptahena tu Yamunam Sadhya Punati Gangeyam Darshana Deva Narmada. Narmadaji's darshan alone is enough. One doesn't even need to do snan. So they say the Ganga snanat, Yamuna panat, Saraswati dhyanat, Narmada darshanat. Ganga, just by taking snan, one gets purified. Yamuna by drinking pan. Saraswati by doing dhyan. Narmada just by darshan. Just to see Narmada river, one gets purified. So these are various glories of Mother Narmada, how she is glorified in the scriptures. Narmadaji means what? Narma da. This is the splitting. Narma and da. So the word Narma has different meanings. The main meaning of Narma is happiness. So one who is the giver of bliss, absolute bliss, the seeker who wants supreme happiness, she is Narmada. And one who also gives joy, pleasure to the senses, delight to the senses. When you just look at Narmadaji and her flow, it is so delightful. The banks of Narmadaji, the birds on the banks of Narmadaji, the trees, the forests, various things, the lingas, the stones, most delightful to the senses, most peaceful for the mind, most inspiring for the intellect, spiritually the giver of absolute bliss. So the giver of bliss is Narmada. The giver of an attitude of detachment is Narmada. Narma also means the attitude of being detached and living life in a sportsmanship spirit. Narma means krida. Krida means play. So Narmadaji, as though plays as she is flowing, the play, the playfulness, the spirit of joyfulness, the spirit of playfulness, that is Narmadaji. And one who gives that to those who worship her is Narmada. Narma also means humor. One who can have humor in life, smile through ups and downs of life, laugh at oneself also. Sometimes so many foolish things we'll end up doing. Just laugh. So one who has that spirit of humor, one who gives that spirit of humor to the devotees. And Narma also means love. One who fills the heart with love. Shankaracharya wrote a beautiful composition, Narmada Ashtakam. Beautiful line, every shloka ends there with Tvadiya Pada Pankajam Namami Devi Narmade. Oh Mother Narmada, I bow down to your lotus feet again and again and again. Because she is the giver of everything that we seek. You know, if you ask Parikrama Vasis, they will even tell you, even ordinary things, those who are on the Parikrama, their desire arises in their mind and that gets fulfilled. Some devotee feels like having samosa, Parikrama Vasi. And there will be somebody who will be there with samosa in maybe a day or maybe the same day. It just happens. And may say, oh, Swami, all that is coincidence. You do it and you will know it. I am telling you out of my experience also. Gross things, subtle things, spiritual things, everything that one requires. One depends on Mother Narmada and goes. That attitude one has to carry forward in one's life. What we need will be provided. Gurudev always used to say that. He said, what you need will be provided. If you don't have something, you don't need it. Why do you complain? Stop complaining. When it is required, it will come to us. One can live in that contentment. So Narmada is the giver of contentment, the giver of security, emotional security. So many things we do in life is only because we don't feel emotionally secure. Our heart is empty, so we want to fill it with so many things and achievements and power and position and whatnot. Narmadaji liberates us from all that. Fills our heart with beauty, security, love, happiness, peace, what we seek. So that's one meaning of Narmada. Second meaning of Narmada is one who makes the heart tender. Narma means soft, gentle, tender. So it is said, and this name Narmada is given by Lord Shiva himself. So it is said Narmadaji was born from the tapas of Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. And Lord Shiva, when he did intense tapas, he sweated a lot, and water and the sweat flowed on the mountain and collected in the pond, and from there was a beautiful small child who was born. She is Narmada. And she is most brilliant, most beautiful to look at, very, very vibrant, energetic. So when the Devatas and the Asuras and various, Yaksha, Gandharva, Kinnara, all of them, they saw her, they were very fascinated and they all wanted to seek her. They all wanted her for themselves. So Mahadevji said that whoever is greater in strength and in speed than her, she will only go to that person. The moment they heard this, all of them started running behind Narmadaji. And Narmadaji's wave is very fast. That's why she's called Reva. Reva means one who moves very fast. So she was moving so fast, and she would disappear in some places, again appear, again disappear, again appear. And these Devatas, Asuras, all these beings were very confused, confounded. They couldn't catch up with her pace at all. And looking at this Leela, Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati, they laughed that look at this Devatas and all these people, our small child, this girl has, made everyone so zapped. They are not able to catch her at all. And suddenly Narmadaji appeared near Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva was very happy with her, and it is said, Tasyas chakre tato nama swayameva pinakadhrika Narma chaibhyo dadeyasmat tatkritais cheshtitai prithak bhavishyati vararohe sarit cheshta tu Narmada. This is in Skanda Puran 5.5.46 and 47. Because she brought delight to Lord Shiva himself, Lord Shiva named her Narmada. Just think, Shivji is the one who brings auspiciousness to all. One who brought delight and happiness to Shivji is Narmadaji. So the name Narmada is given by Lord Shiva. And so who made the heart of Lord Shiva also very tender. And all the Devatas, in Vasishtha Samhita it is said, Yato dadasi no narma chakshushatvam vipashyata tato bhavishya se devi vikhyata bhuvi Narmada. All the Devatas came finally to her and said, we are so delighted to see this Leela of yours, and just looking at you we feel so happy. Hence, you are Narmada, and whoever just sees you will be blessed. So this is Narmadaji, and various stories are there of origin of Mother Narmada. In Skanda Puran, Reva Khand. So this Reva Khand of Skanda Puran is what is also called as Narmada Puran. And very interesting is Narmadaji is the only river who has a Puran specifically for her. Narmada Puran, as when we do the Parikrama, etc., you will see lots of places, people, Kathakars do the Pravachan of Narmadaji, of Narmada Puran. That is actually the Reva Khand portion. So it's not a separate Purana or a Upapuran. It is the Reva Khand portion of Skanda Puran, which is called Narmada Puran. And so in Skanda Puran, Reva Khand, some stories are mentioned. In Vayu Puran, it is there. Again, in Vayu Puran, there is a Reva Khand. In some editions of Vayu Puran, you may not find Reva Khand, but actually the whole Vayu Puran has Reva Khand. And Vasishtha Samhita also has. So I will tell you one story today, two stories today, and two stories tomorrow. So one story as per Vayu Puran is, Lord Shiva did Tandav in the beginning of creation, and Narmadaji was born from the intense sweat that was born out of the Tandav, and she started flowing in Brahmaloka. So these devatas, they requested Lord Shiva that please send Narmadaji on the earth. And Lord Shiva said, who is the one who will bear the force of her coming down to the earth? So Vindhya mountain's son is called Mekal. So Mekal Parvat agreed that I am ready, I will bear the force of Mother Narmada. And so Narmadaji descended on the Mekal Parvat. So one of her names also is Mekala Sutta. There is a Gayatri mantra of Mother Narmada where this is specifically mentioned. In other places also it is mentioned. Om Rudra Dehayai Vidmahe Mekala Kanyakayai Dhimahi Tanno Reva Prachodayat. This is a Gayatri mantra of Mother Narmada. So Rudra Dehayai Vidmahe. She is born from the body of Rudra. Mekala Kanyakayai Dhimahi. I meditate on Mekal Kanya. The son of Vindhya mountain is Mekal Parvat. From there she descended. Tanno Reva Prachodayat. So, may that Reva be auspicious to us. So Reva, she is called because she flows very, very fast. Like the earlier story that I mentioned. So this is one story as per Vayu Puran. Then there is also a story which is a similar story like how Bhagirath brought Gangaji down. Like that, it is said that in Swayambhu Manvantara, there was a king called Hiranyateja in Chandravamsha, and his capital was Chandrapuri. He was a Ekachhatra Samrat, meaning an emperor. And it is said in those times, Jambudvip did not have rivers. So once when he was doing Shraddha, there were lakes, there were ponds, but flowing rivers not there. So once when he was doing Shraddha on the banks of a lake, the Pitrus manifested and he asked, who are you? He said, we are your ancestors and we are very sad because the rivers are not there here, and even Devatas need various things to be done, yajnas, yagas to be done, offerings to be done, and rivers are very sacred. So you have to ask Lord Shiva to let Narmadaji flow on the earth. So Hiranyateja said, if my ancestors are unhappy, what am I doing? I must ensure that they become happy. So he started doing tapasya, and after a lot of tapasya, Lord Shivji was pleased. And Lord Shivji said, ask what boon you seek. So he said, please bless us with the flow of Mother Narmada on the earth. Shivji said, you ask anything else you like, this I cannot give. Hiranyateja said, I want this and this alone. Shivji said, I will give you everything else in this world. Don't ask for Narmadaji on the earth. Hiranyateja said, as many lives as you want, I will do tapasya, but I want only this boon. I don't want anything else. So Lord Shiva finally was very happy, and he told Narmadaji that on the Vindhya mountains, Udayagiri mountains, you have to descend. And so Narmadaji descended there, but she is very, very powerful, and when she was descending, she flooded that place. Just like Gangaji, she also flooded this place. So that is where one Shivalinga comes out. Lord Shiva manifests there in the Linga Swarupa and gives out a Humkar. Hum is a Bija mantra. So with that Humkar, he instructs Narmada that you have to curtail your flow. You are here for blessing people. So you must curtail your flow between Vindhya and Satpura mountains. And so Narmadaji agreed. And that's how today we see the flow is between Vindhya and Satpura mountains. Naturally, Hiranyateja then thanked Lord Shiva, and Mother Narmada did the Shraddha on the banks of Narmadaji. And that's why you will find that Pitru Tarpan and Deva Yajna are very sacred on the banks of Narmadaji. So traditionally, when Parikrama Vasis do Narmada Parikrama, it is supposed to be 3 years, 3 months, 13 days. And in these 3 years, 3 Chaturmasas will come. 3 rainy seasons will come, 4 months of rainy season when one doesn't travel. So one has to stay in one place. Out of that, 2 Chaturmasyas are for Pitru Tarpan, one Chaturmasya is for Deva Tarpan. And there are people who do it. When we were on this Parikrama, we met one Parikrama Vasi who was doing it that way. And he completed 2 and he is in his 3rd year now. So even today, there are people who do it in a traditional way, the Parikrama. So now this is another story of Narmadaji's origin. Now very interesting is the story where we find, see, Narmadaji's different stories of the origin of Narmadaji, there are different stories which are given up. What is confusing sometimes to people is how can there be so many different stories? In our culture, that is called as Kalpa Bheda. In every Kalpa, Narmadaji manifests. So there are different Kalpas. In each Kalpa, different ways, different manifestations of Narmadaji are there. So in one Kalpa, it is said, the story that I told you was Swayambhu Manvantara. That was the first manifestation. Second is Daksha Savarnya Manvantara was the second manifestation. Third manifestation is Vaishnava Manvantara by King Pururava. Now the second and third manifestations are similar to the first one, the story that I said. Now, the fourth manifestation is during a king called Purukutsa, his time. And he again worshipped Lord Shiva and requested Narmadaji to flow. And Lord Shiva again said, you ask another boon. You know, with Narmadaji, Lord Shiva is not very quick to give Narmadaji to people. So he keeps, tempting them. So this time he said to Purukutsa that you ask anything else. Now Purukutsa has done so much tapasya. He said, no, I don't want anything else. And if you can't give this, I don't want anything. So he fainted there. He was ready to drop his body. Lord Shiva revived him and he said, I'm very happy with your tapasya and Narmadaji will flow on the earth. So Paryanka mountain. Now Paryanka is also another name of the Mekal Parvat. So on Paryanka mountain, she descends and she goes to the place where King Prithu had done Ashwamedha Yajna. And from there, she manifested from the shoots of bamboo. So even today, if you go to Amarkantak, you will see Mai Ki Bagya is one place. Even in Amarkantak, Narmada Mandir itself, or in Mai Ki Bagya, the firm belief is of this story that Narmadaji manifests from the base of the bamboo shoots. And that's why the Parikrama Vasi has a danda. Parikrama Vasi has to carry 3 things minimum. One is a danda, one is a kamandal, and one is Narmadajal. So danda is bamboo stick. That bamboo stick is the symbol of Narmadaji. You see how beautiful is our culture. Narmadaji is worshipped in so many forms. She is worshipped in the Adi Devic form as a Devi. She is worshipped in the Adi Bhautik form as the river. She is also worshipped as the bamboo. So every day when we do the puja of Narmadaji, the bamboo is worshipped, the stick. For us, it's not a stick to hold and have a support and then lean on and all that. That is secondary. The primary bhav is Narmadaji is with me. And see the bhav, the most beautiful bhav is Narmadaji is doing parikrama with me. Because she is there as a stick to support me and she is there as the water with me That's the bhav. So one carries the water on the back, one has the stick in the hand. So front and back, Narmadaji is there to protect. What more is required? On the right side is Narmadaji, front is Narmadaji, back is Narmadaji, everywhere is Narmadaji only. So one walks with that bhav. So she manifests from the bamboo shoot there. And Devata said that, your waters are very fierce and we need permission to touch your waters and take a dip and get purified. Narmadaji said, I am unmarried yet. That's why you see there was once one sadhak called Gauri Shankar Maharaj. He is also called Jamaat Wale Baba. Is Gauri Shankar Maharaj, he used to do parikrama with lots of people. He will take hundreds and hundreds of people with him. That is called Jamaat group. And he will make everyone do parikrama in the traditional way. So in that area, Koksar is his samadhi. So Gauri Shankar Maharaj believed that Narmadaji is a Kanya and one should not take even bath in Narmadaji. That is his belief based on this story. But as we see the scriptures, they don't prohibit the snan in Narmadaji. In fact, that's one of the main sadhanas to be done. So Devatas, when they heard that, she is unmarried, so Devatas said, now who will be equal to you in power, might, glory and all that? How will we find somebody eligible to get you married? So finally they said, Samudra is the pati of all the rivers. And that Samudra has taken a form as this king, Purukutsa. So you please consider him as your husband. Narmadaji said, just like Swayambhu Manu had 4 Manasa Putras, I will consider him only mentally as my husband. So this is one story. Otherwise, Narmadaji is unmarried. She is a Kanya. That's why Kanya, she is worshipped as Kanya and Kanyas are worshipped as Narmada Roop. And so, when she agreed mentally only to take him as the husband for that particular kalpa, then Devatas and everybody was happy, and then they took snan and they got purified, and they said, you are Devanandini, and so you have blessed us. And King Purukutsa also, he said, you please liberate our ancestors. So now these are various stories. Now why I am telling all these stories is because see, Narmada Parikrama, a lot of people do, but many people don't bother to even understand all these things. When we know these things and when we do the parikrama, our feeling is different. And the bhav comes when we have all this knowledge clearly. I was not aware of some of these. As I was doing the parikrama, many things we came to know when people tell us. So I had a stick. I told, whatever we need, mother gives. Just one example I'm going to share here. We reached 2 days before to Amarkantak. So February 1st, we reached Amarkantak. Evening we reached. We went to Narmadaji's Mandir, etc. And then next day we went to different places of Amarkantak. Then 3rd February, we started the parikrama. Now I know that danda has to be taken, kamandal has to be taken. I didn't know this story and the significance and all that. Second day when we went around to Mai Ki Bagya, there people told us that from bamboo shoots, Narmadaji is born. And she took 4 steps. And there are 4 kunds in Mai Ki Bagya. They are the first 4 steps that she took. So we heard at that time, but still it is not registering in this head that this bamboo stick is the symbol of Narmadaji. Because I didn't have a stick till then. I was desperately searching for a stick. In the whole Amarkantak, there is no proper stick available, danda available. Only walking sticks are available for those which are used by elderly people. That's not the stick which I wanted. Now one is searching, one didn't get any stick. Doesn't matter. I said, when we will get it, wherever we will get it. The day 3rd February, when we did the Sankalpa and puja is over, we have just completed the puja and come out of that kund, Narmada Kund. One person comes walking straight, says, Maharaj ji, ye lo aapka dand. One dand only he had, he came and gave it to me. Just one message was all coincidence, Swamiji. There are many such experiences which have happened. One will just get what one seeks. So that dand, from the beginning I had that dand. Still I am not associating that danda is Narmadaji. Somewhere in between, after some 15 days or something, we were walking and Swami Mitrananji and me, we were doing the parikrama. No? So Swamiji was walking ahead and he reached a particular place and he rested there, waiting for me to come. So I reached there and we were drinking some lemon juice or something. And this person says, he's looking at Swamiji and saying, Swamiji, aap parikrama kar rahe hain? So Swamiji said, yes. He said, to aapka dand kidhar hai? Swamiji said, I will take up. When I need, I will take on dand. That person, that villager there, he says, वो दंड जो है ना परिक्रमा वासी के लिए बहुत जरूरी है क्योंकि वो माँ नर्मदा का स्वरूप है. दंड है और पानी है और भाव परिक्रमा वासी का यही होना चाहिए कि माँ नर्मदा मेरे साथ परिक्रमा कर रही है, हर क्षण मेरे साथ है और मैं माँ नर्मदा पर ही निर्भर हूं और किसी चीज पर निर्भर नहीं. Then it stuck. Acha, this is the thing. Another Parikramavasi told us then that this puja is done every day. So from then we started doing the puja of the danda also. And now see that one small insight changes the whole bhav. Anytime one feels, many times one will physically feel exhausted, tired, one can't walk, difficult terrain or, pain in the foot, whatever it may be. And the danda one looks at, Ma Narmada is there with me. Keep going. Keep chanting the name. Keep going. So these stories, they have different significances, and very important is they create bhav. So now I told you about Narmadaji, her origin. It is said people go to Gangaji to purify their sins. Gangaji comes every night to Narmadaji to purify herself. All the lots of shlokas are there for it. Most beautiful shlokas are here. And Narmadaji is the presiding deity of Vairagya, as I said. That's why her place is called Tapo Bhumi, Vairagya Bhumi. And something that becomes very easy on her banks is Samadhi. Because she is the presiding deity of Vairagya, Samadhi becomes very easy on the banks of Narmadaji. And where there is Narmadaji, there is Shiva. Where there is Shiva, there is Narmadaji. They both are inseparable actually. So, Narmadaji Parikrama. Why do people do Parikrama of Narmadaji? Lots of people do Parikrama because they want a certain fulfillment of a desire. Some people have taken a sankalpa that when this desire is fulfilled or when this trouble is over, I will do a parikrama. So they come to do the parikrama to fulfill that sankalpa that they have taken. Some people, they want a fulfillment of a particular desire. For that, they will start doing the parikrama and say that, oh mother, please fulfill this desire. It's a proper sakama karma. And so when we do a sakama karma, it should be done properly with all the rules, regulations, etc. Then it will give the proper result. There are some people who do it because they have heard lots of miracles. So they want to experience miracles also. And if you see on YouTube, so many videos are there of different people talking about different miracles they have experienced on the Narmada Parikrama. So by word of mouth, this has spread a lot. And very interesting is maximum Parikrama Vasis are from Maharashtra. Narmada river flows in 4 states. Very small portion is in Chhattisgarh. Then Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh is the major portion. Then Maharashtra, then Gujarat. And goes into Sagar, which is called Reva Sagar. So maximum people come from Maharashtra. 80% of Parikrama Vasis are from Maharashtra. Even in that, majority are from Pune, Chinchwad, Nashik, in these places. Now slowly from Mumbai it has started. And lots of literature available in Marathi, videos available in Marathi about Narmada Parikrama. So with word of mouth, this has spread, and different people's experiences, how it has benefited them materially, in relationships, in profit, in different ways, health, lot of things. So people do it because it has spread that way. There are a few who do it out of the sincere desire to purify the mind. And there are some who have dedicated themselves to Parikrama. There are some people who just keep doing Parikrama. So one of them, I asked him, because he said, हम तो साधु है, हमारा काम है भ्रमण करना, तो हम सतत भ्रमण पर है, सतत. So I said, Parikrama you are continuously doing? He said, हाँ, हम continuously परिक्रमा करते हैं. क्यों? सो इसे जीवन में और करना क्या है? भगवान के ही, what was the word he used? I forget the exact word. The import of his reason was, what else is there in life to do except serve the Lord and serve the mother? So he keeps doing parikrama continuously. And there are some people who do repeatedly. Once they have done, twice, thrice. Some people have done 8 times, 9 times also. Because as I said in the beginning, so many things one experiences, one develops, intensity of sadhana increases. So one does. Different people have different reasons for doing parikrama. Now somebody asked me, this in the scripture, there's a very nice description given of why parikrama is to be done. See, the scriptural reasons are very beautiful. लब्धम ये नर्मदातोयम ये च कुर्यु प्रदक्षिणाम ये पिबन्ति जलम तत्र ते पुण्यानात्र संशयः. Skanda Puran 5.29 to 37. Lots of shlokas are there. One of them I have taken. So whoever has seen the Mother Narmada, whoever has done the pradakshina, whoever has drunk the water, they attain lot of punya. So as we know in our scriptures, punya is the currency of this universe. Any other dollar, yen and this and that is only for this world. You want interloka travel, punya has to be taken up. Okay. So punya one generates by doing parikrama, and that punya is required for everything, for good health, for wealth, for relationship, for getting satsang, for sadhana, for siddhi, for everything punya is required. So Shastra says for that one should do pradakshina. Then it is also said, those who do this pradakshina, brahmanti yeti ramupetya devya strikala devarchana satyaputaha vinmutra charmas stishiropadhanaha kukshau yuvatyana vasanti bhuyaha. Highest reason to do parikrama is this. What is that? Whoever has done the archana of Mahadev, Trikaleshwar Mahadev, Lord Shiva, whoever has done the archana of Trikaleshwar Mahadev, and whoever has reached the banks of Mother Narmada, and whoever does the parikrama, will not get back into the womb of the mother and will not get into this body which is made up of dirt and filth and bone and blood and matter. Punarjanmana vidyate. Why? Because absolute bliss, once you attain, there is no punarjanma. Now somebody says, oh, it is only for spiritual reasons one should do. So there is another nice shloka here which says, Sattirtha seva manasa prasadini deshasya viksha manasa kutuhalam Shinotya narthan sujanena sangama satasman kasmai brahmanam virochate. This is from Shankara Digvijaya, written by Swami Vidyaranyaji. See the reasons he gives. Satirtha seva manasa prasadini. So the reason why one should do is to do Tirtha seva. See, Narmada, entire river itself is considered as a Tirtha. On the banks of Narmadaji, there are different Tirthas, is different. The entire Narmadaji itself is a Tirtha. So to serve Narmadaji in that place, one does Manasa Prasadini, for peace of mind one does Deshasya Viksha. One also comes to know one's own country. Shankaracharya traveled 4 times across the whole country by foot. So Vidyaranya Swami writes this parikrama because you will meet by foot when you go different places, you will meet different types of people, understand the situation, the culture, the country, the people, everything. So Deshasya Viksha, Manasak Kutuhalam, even one will experience lot of adventure. Then Kshinotya Narthan, for all anartha to be destroyed. Sujanena Sangama, to meet people who are seekers, who are sadhus, who are sannyasis. For all these, why will one not love to do parikrama and to wander? So these are various reasons why one does the parikrama. So today I have given you the basic introduction of Narmadaji, of parikrama, the significance of parikrama. Now tomorrow we will see what are the types of parikrama and then what experiences, some things we had on the way and some satsangs that we had, some glimpses of various sadhus, sannyasis, their talk, etc. we will share. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, you are a sannyasi, why are you doing parikrama? After studying Vedant, one person told me, Vedant itna padhne ke baad aapko parikrama ki kya avashyakta hai? We may have studied Vedant, but Chitta Shuddhi has to happen. Number one, more and more Chitta Shuddhi has to happen. Number two, Ishvara Anugraha is most important. Without that, nothing will happen. How much ever Advaita Vedant one remembers, one knows, if you read Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya of Vishnu Sahasranam, in that he writes very clearly in the beginning introduction, without the grace of Vishnu, or means without the grace of Bhagavan, Atma Jnana is just not possible. Grace of Bhagavan is invoked when the heart is pure and intensity is there, bhakti is there, vairagya is there, then only. So we may have studied Vedant. One should never think that, oh, I am above all this because I have studied Vedant. And as I said, so many sadhanas come together. It was so amazing to just do this one phase. And lastly, I conclude with this beautiful quote. A very popular one. In Hindi, they say, Pani behta bhala, sadhu chalta bhala. In this sadhana, both are done. Narmadaji is continuously flowing and sadhu is continuously walking. Both are the symbols of detachment. Detachment for oneself and detachment for people also. Because very interesting is, there are people who do Narmada Parikrama and who don't come back. They settle on the banks of Narmadaji. They don't go back home. They say, bas, ho gaya. Dropped everything, settled on the banks of Narmadaji. There are some people who tell in the house, one Parikramavasi was there like that, Manoj. He told in his house, I will go for 1 month and I will come back. He took 4 months, completed the Parikrama and then he went back. It happens like that, because when you go there, when you are in that mood, in that bhav, one doesn't feel like going back sometimes. We came back actually because it was quite hot and very, very difficult to continue. Otherwise, we would have continued. Anyway, so it brings a lot of detachment to oneself, and no phone, no social media, was absolute bliss. Hardly any communication with the world, doing complete sadhana. Amazing time it was. And I'm looking forward next Parikrama, we will continue. We have only completed about 1,000 kilometers so far, 2,500 plus more to go. With Ma Narmada's grace, Lord Shiva's blessings, Gurudev's grace, all will happen. So for today, I will stop here, and we will conclude with 5 times chanting the Gayatri Mantra of Narmadaji. Om Rudra Dehayai Vidmahe Mekala Kanyakayai Dhimahi Tanno Reva Prachodayat. Om Rudra Dehayai Vidmahe Mekala Kanyakayai Dhimahi Tanno Reva Prachodayat. Om Rudra Dehayai Vidmahe Mekala Kanyakayai Dhimahi Tanno Reva Prachodayat. Om Rudra Dehayai Vidmahe Mekala Kanyakayai Dhimahi Tanno Reva Prachodayat. Om Rudra Dehayai Vidmahe Mekala Kanyakayai Dhimahi Tanno Reva Prachodayat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. If you have any questions, you can write it down, and you can ask tomorrow. We will have a Q&A session at the end of my session tomorrow. So any questions you can ask tomorrow. Thank you. Harihi Om. Narmade Har. That's the greeting.